It's Toby at Breakfast. It's BBC Radio Sheffield. Now, news at the weekend. Almost. Let's see what we think of this. You may have heard the news over the weekend about the government scrapping plans to build any new smart motorways. 14 planned schemes, some of which involve using the hard shoulder as an extra lane of traffic, are being scrapped. But existing smart motorways, which make up 10% of England's motorway network, will remain in place. They'll undergo a safety refit to create 150 more emergency stopping places, and we're told they'll get improved technology. One lady who's campaigned against smart motorways is Claire Mercer from Rotherham. We've spoken to Claire before. We've spoken about Claire a lot on here. And her husband, Jason, who was killed when his car was hit on a stretch of this so-called smart motorway near Meadowhall on the M1 there. And she joins us now. Claire, good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for your time this morning. How are you feeling about the news this weekend?
Well, it's half good news. It's half the battle, but why are we dealing with the ones that weren't even due to be built until 2025 first? The ones that are here and now that are running are the ones that are killing us. So, yeah, it is good news, but it's not the urgent good news that we needed. It's the existing ones that are killing us right now.
And what are they saying to you, Claire? Because surely if they're not safe enough to build any more of, then the ones that we've got can't be safe enough. I mean, it seems obvious.
Exactly. They're saying it's on safety grounds after all these years and all the data they've had to say that they're not safe. They're now saying it's on safety grounds, yet the existing ones can continue. It just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't add up. And it's more to do with budgets and the local and general elections around the corner.
Right, I see. I mean, it's interesting stuff. And whenever we do that stretch of road, I feel unsafe on it because when I do that stretch of road a lot, it's the way I go home. And of course, you're looking at something where there is no hard shoulder, and I'm fully aware, as lots of people around here, of what happened to your husband and the other person who was killed that day. So. How does it make you feel when you're driving up there, when you see that? How does it make you feel?
Well, for years I couldn't go on the motorways at all. After Jason died, I couldn't go on them at all. But recently I started going on them again. But last week I had to go down that stretch and further on to an inquest for Derek Jacobs, who was killed on the stretch of road that I was going down, and it did make me even more aware than normal. And I was incredibly anxious. My anxiety and the problem, the panic attacks that I have now, were really an issue that morning, and it just really brings it home to you. And I mean, Jason was killed on the side where Meadowhall and the cranes are. But if you look at the opposite side, it's fences right behind the crash barrier. They say get behind the crash barrier. I mean, Jason couldn't get over the crash barrier where he was killed, him and Alexandro, because of the big drop down onto, is it Blackburn Road, I think? So there's like a 20, 30-foot drop on that side. And then on the other side, it's 7-foot high fences right behind the crash barrier. You're just not safe at all. There is nowhere. And, some people have said that, it's just very unfortunate that Jason and Alexandra were where the drop was. But then you've got an 8-year-old boy that was killed on a viaduct smart motorway. What was he meant to do? Jump over the side? Derek Jacobs, he was getting out of his vehicle on the left-hand side like he was told to do. He was doing everything right, and he'd just got out of his vehicle when he was hit. Nargis Begum from Sheffield, she was getting over the crash barrier when she was hit. It's just, it's not safe. It's absolute lunacy. And this refit that they're saying they're going to do, more refuge areas. If you can't get to a refuge area, you can't get to a refuge area. If your car stops, and newer cars are more likely to stop. And then you've got the smart cars, the electric cars that can't be towed or pushed. There's just so many reasons why this is absolute lunacy. And they've dealt with the ones that were in the agenda for 2025, not the ones that are killing us right now.
And how are you finding it, Claire? Because you've found yourself from, doing whatever it was you did before to becoming this huge campaigner and very visible and working really hard. And I have to say, a very successful campaigner. I mean, the noise that you make is incredible, really. The level at which you get to speak to people is incredible work. It really is. But it wasn't what you were put here to do, really, is it?
No, it's a very strange life now. I was an engineering buyer. I always worked in industry. Yeah. I was a machinist originally, and I went on to become an engineering buyer, but I've had to give up my career to do this. And now when I fill out forms and, want to open a new bank account or something, and they say, well, what do you do for a living? And I have to actually put campaigner, which is very weird. And it's been difficult. I mean, my health is not what it was. I'm on a lot more medication now, and they say that happens with grief and bereavement. But one good thing that's happened recently, and it's actually semi-related to you and your show. Last time I came in, I decided, while sat in front of you, that I was going to fire Jason into space. I'm going to fire his ashes into space. And I've actually done that. It was done a week or so ago.
Yeah.
And that has given me a lot of comfort. That is, I don't have a faith, I don't follow a religion, but that gave me a lot of comfort. And I'm actually going to have a party this weekend to show the video. There was a camera fitted to the capsule and everything, showing his ashes. And that's helped. That's given me a lot of comfort.
That's amazing. Where did you do this?
There's a company in Sheffield that do it.
Really?
They're near, is it like Costco and Macro?
Yeah.
And they deal with it all. And they fire them into the stratosphere in these capsules with cameras fitted. And I've seen the video, and it's amazing. It's got a photo of Jason on the outside, and you see it setting off. And then it gets further and further up, and then it shows the actual release of the ashes into the stratosphere. And the capsule comes back down with the camera footage, and they tidy it all up and give it you.
I bet that's amazing. I bet that's absolutely amazing.
And that's made me happy. That's helped a lot. We're 4 years down the road, and I've only just done that because the campaign took over, and I think I forgot to grieve and deal with what I lost in Jason and things like that. So
it must be so hard for you. I mean, we talk about you a lot. Whenever this story comes up, and we do talk about you and the work that you do.
Yeah.
It must be so hard for you. When that day happens, when that day comes, when people come round to you thinking and stop these smart motorways, what will you do then?
I don't know. I'm actually starting to get a little bit worried about that. I don't know, because I got up at 5:30 this morning to talk the breakfast TV and things like that. But in my mind, I'm going to go and get a part-time job in a cafe and take my dog on more walks.
That just sounds perfect to me. Listen, thanks very much indeed for talking to us. The work that you do, I know, never stops for you, and it hasn't stopped yet. I mean, I'm guessing that as far as you're concerned, the fight still goes on.
Definitely. Half the battle won, half to go, but it's still going to be as noisy as ever, and I will get that hard shoulder back.
I've got to tell you, Claire, I wouldn't bet against you. Thanks very much indeed for talking to us this morning.
Cheers.
Take care. Claire Mercer there from Rotherham. As she said, her husband Jason was killed when his car was hit on the stretch of the motorway near Meadow Hall. And the job's not finished yet, but if anybody's going to finish it...
I'm Elise Evans.